And we are live. Welcome back to the channel. It is Chosen Wisdom Football, a channel for all of you football purists, for all of you critical thinkers, you deep thinkers, you people who like to analyze things sometimes a bit too much. If that's you, this channel is for you. Big up the community. This is, of course, your Manchester United news show. And of course, guys, the big news right off the bat is Michael Carrick has been appointed as caretaker manager. I'm sure all of you guys are aware this news landed, I believe, yesterday. I believe it was confirmed. So we are a bit late, but it is now confirmed, guys, that Michael Carrick has been appointed as caretaker manager for Manchester United Football Club. And boy, oh boy, is the fallout from that decision, the fallout from the weekend, the fallout from the Amorim sacking is still spreading, it's still growing, it's still precipitating. And there's a lot for us to get through because there's a lot of news, guys, that have come out of that. So yes, we're going to talk about Carrick being announced as caretaker manager. That is, of course, the big news. But from that, guys, we also have Jason Wilcox coming out speaking on why he made that appointment, speaking on Carrick in general. We have David Ornstein, a journalist, coming out and saying why Carrick, or at least trying to confirm why Michael Carrick was chosen ahead of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We have Sky News. We have a Sky News quote we're gonna read, which talks about the insights on why we chose Carrick. What did Carrick demand? What did Ole demand? And why we essentially went for Carrick. Also, guys, we have confirmation out of Manchester United that we're going to talk about, that we are not making any short-term signings. And something that I've been talking about for the past month, guys, is that I do not believe that Manchester United will make any January signings, and that seems to be the case according to messages that are being coming out of the club. So we have to talk about that as well. There's also news that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, even though he went for the job, he supports Michael Carrick and supports the decision made. There's new coaching pictures of Man United training. There's also a new coaching team. There's news, guys, that Steve Holland has been hired by Manchester United following Michael Carrick and Wilcox's agreement as well. There's a lot of news, guys. Of course, we have to talk about the fact that Brian and Bumo and Ahmad have now returned. They've been eliminated from the African Nations Cup, so they'll be back in the squad for the match on Saturday, guys. And also, there's also, guys, news on the permanent manager. So there's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of things going on. There's protests that are being planned, protests against the Glazers and Ineos that are being planned, guys. There's a lot of things that we can talk about in today's show. A lot of news, a lot of United fans who are still furious, who are still angry at the current situation, who demand more change. There is a lot of things that Man United need to manage as a club right now. There's a lot of fireworks being shot at from every different angle. So, guys, today's show is going to be a very, very packed show. So big up the chat. I see Osman in the chat already saying Gareth Southgate's longtime number 2 joins the staff ahead of an as yet unknown summer appointment. So Osman is making the case, or at least kind of showing us that this could be preparation for Gareth Southgate. So that is definitely an opinion that is out there. Let me know if you guys share that opinion. Do you think this is some slow preparation for Gareth Southgate? If you do believe that, let me know why. And or let me know if you even like Gareth Southgate. Is anybody in the chat a fan of Gareth Southgate? Big up Teklish up in the building. Big up Atro as well, my guy. I hope you're doing well, bro. Shivam in the building. Big up Wiz in the community. Big up Shivam. I can see lots of dust settled on the trophies in the background. Says Shivam. Big up Shivam. Always welcome. Always one of the most opinionated guys in the chat, Shivam. Big up Atro as well. Let's start the show, guys. Let's get through all of the news as much as we can so you guys are up to date with everything. As you guys know, Carrick has been made caretaker manager. That is not news. I think most people know this by now. If you are living under a rock and it's the first time you've hearing about it, then Carrick has been named the caretaker manager. That's happened. It is done. It is official. He has officially taken charge of Manchester United. He has started training as well with them, and he will be in charge of Manchester United when we face Manchester City on Saturday. He will be in charge for the remainder of the season. Michael Carrick, who is a legend, let's not forget, but at the same time, let's not do what we did with Ollie, in my opinion, and combine his success, combine his footballing legendary status with his managerial status. I still think we need to separate the two and understand that he's a legend at Man United. We love Michael Carrick, an amazing midfielder in his time, but at the same time, we need to judge him as the manager right now and treat him the same way we would treat any other manager. So he's been made permanent. Well, not, I wouldn't say permanent interim or caretaker manager. So that's official, guys. You guys already know this. Let me know how you feel about that. I mean, we don't need to go into whether you wanted Ruben Amorim to be sacked or not. I think that is done. We don't always. I mean, if you guys want to talk about it, of course, it's your prerogative. But I'm not all too interested in going back into whether we should have sacked Ruben Amorim or not. I feel like it's done. We did it. We did it for the wrong reasons, but I still believe, in my opinion, we probably shouldn't have hired someone so different to the club and the club's ethos in the first place. But like I said, that could be a conversation for a whole another day. We are here now. Some of us are angry. Some of us are content. Some of us are furious. Some of us are nervous. Some of us are apprehensive. All of these emotions. But we're here now, guys. We're here now, and Carrick is here. So what can we do apart from hopefully Carrick can do something different? Carrick can show us something that we haven't seen with these players. And hopefully, guys, he can get something a little bit more out of these players than our previous manager. That is literally the whole point of Carrick. Somebody somewhere believes that somebody else can get more out of these players than Ruben Amorim was. And I feel like that is an opinion that's not shared by everybody. And I appreciate that not everyone thought that you can get more. Some people just really think these players are all terrible. And once again, I understand that perspective as well. But that's really why all of this is happening. Jason Wilcox has made some comments, and this is coming from Ben Jacobs, guys. And he said, Michael is an excellent coach and knows exactly what it takes to win at Manchester United. He is ready to lead our talented and determined group of players for the remainder of the season as we continue to build the club towards regular and sustained success. Now, I understand loads of he has to come out and say stuff like this. You know, the club have made this appointment. They've decided to go with Carrick, and they've decided to go with Carrick for a reason. So it has to be a positive reason. We want positivity. Ineos are trying to, because of the toxicity in the fan base right now, they're trying to spin things and they're trying to make things as positive as they can. That's what they're trying to do, you know? And I don't feel like there's anything else or anything more that Jason Wilcox can say about this, really. The question is whether you believe him, whether you're totally logged out, whether you've totally clocked out of Ineos's words, and whether you're like, do you know what? I'm not even listening. Maybe some of you guys are like that. Maybe you're in that kind of space. I understand. But that's Jason Wilcox. I've always said on this channel, and I know a lot of you are becoming disgruntled let's say, towards Jason Wilcox, and I feel like the fan base is looking at him sideways. But I've always liked Jason Wilcox, and I've always said that the fan base wanted a new structure. We've always wanted a director of football, a technical director, to take some of the managerial duties away from the manager. We've always wanted that structure, a modern football structure. We've been crying out for that since Fergie left. And now that we have this structure and we have them, we don't need a manager anymore. We kind of need a head coach. And everyone was praising the fact that we've got a technical director now, we've got head of recruitment, we've got all of this structure in place. And all of a sudden, when the structure is now working, essentially, when the technical director, Wilcox, is saying to the manager, to the head coach, the football you're playing is not in line with the football that we want to play. Get the head out. I'm not saying that's what happened, but let's say that's happened. I feel like now people are saying that Wilcox needs to like leave, and I'm like, I understand the perspective, and Wilcox had made mistakes, but let's not forget that this is the structure, this modern structure that Pep Guardiola, Arteta, all of these managers have to operate under these modern structures, as Osman has said before. So I don't know, guys. It's just, I'm still hoping that Jason Wilcox can turn things around. I'm not saying he will. And like I said, I understand people's anger towards Wilcox and Ineos, especially. But just like with Amrim and other things, they've done some good things, Ineos, in terms of signing some players, in terms of Carrington, refurbishing Carrington, and all of these things. They've done some good things, getting rid of some players that we need to get rid of. But they've also done some crap things. And I guess it's down to you guys to weigh up, the scales. How are the scales, guys? So big up the chat. I see the chat is popping off. Shivam, Kwaku, big up Kwaku in the building. What foundation do you think Carrick will set? Carrick knows some things. Carrick's been at Man United for so long, played here for so long. He knows the quality of, he's a midfielder and he's a really good one. So one thing I like about midfielders like Xavi or Carrick or any kind of baller that becomes manager, or Zidane, I feel like those guys, they often play really good football. Alonso, like midfielders and who are like Carrick, I think often make good coaches because they respect the midfield. So I'm just hoping he instills a way of being, because he understands. But I don't know. I can only hope. In terms of Carrick's style of play, it would be very similar to like Ollie's, very counter-attacking, you on the front foot, with the ball, on the ball. Yeah, let's see what Shivam saying in the chat. At Middlesbrough, he got them from 22 to playoffs. Many other good things too. Let's see if we can get the new managerial bounce like always. Win or trot 5 games, beat City, Arsenal, then Fulham. All right, Shivam is in a more positive mood. It's good. It's good. Sometimes sleep on it, wake up and, try to be more positive. Big up Shivs. Big up Kwaku. Big up Quakes. What's Oz saying? I don't see how you can look at the decision since Ineos came and think that it shows the structure is working. The timing of the appointments and sackings is literally calamitous. Osman's point, it's one thing to want a DOF in principle and another to think that Wilcox, etc. are all competent. That's a good question. I've asked this question. When Ineos say the best in class, and they're literally getting someone like Wilcox, who's never been a technical director or a director of football, he's a recruitment guy. When they're promoting him into these positions, and Vivell promoting Vivell into these positions. Technically speaking, that's not getting the best in class. You're promoting people who've never done the job before. So while I do like these personnel because of their ability to do their original jobs, have we got the best in class? And therefore, are we making the best decisions? That's the question that Osman essentially is posing. Because some of their decision making, timings, and I agree with this, the timing of sacking Ten Hag, the timing of hiring Amorim, then the timing of sacking Amorim. What the hell? What the hell, guys? So, Ineos, you got to weigh up. They've done some really crap things, but at the same time, they've done some decent things. Anyway, David Ornstein on Carrick over Solskjaer. So David Ornstein, a journalist that we all recognise, he's weighed in and he said perhaps some of them at the club felt it was too big a step backwards, with no disrespect to Ollie at all, and Carrick less so. Also, I think from Ollie's perspective, and kind of came out in reporting, he was very keen to see this more of a permanent thing because he is a manager in his own right. He's done this very job in his own right, which is very interesting. I think we've spoken about this. I brought this to your attention, I think, in a previous show. Essentially, Ineos, if you're going to summarize this, have gone for the easier option. And the question is, why wouldn't you, as a human being, go for that easier option? If you got two options, one hard, one easy, you yourself might go for the easy option. You'd go for the guy who doesn't want it permanently. You'd go for the guy who understands his place. He will say what he's been told. He doesn't have that much experience, but at the same time won't demand too much. You might go for that guy, and it seems as if that's what Ineos are doing, rightfully or wrong. That's up to you guys to decide. I'll let you guys decide on that. But at the same time, if I had two choices and I've already seen what Ollie could do and it didn't fully work, I might say, do you know what? Let's give Carrick a go. Because Ollie is literally a step backwards, objectively. So, okay, let's read on. So going back to having him at the same club as interim may have jarred with some, including him. I think he sees this from the conversations I've had as a longer term project he would love to get his teeth stuck into. A real rebuild over the years rather than just 4 months. So I think Carrick was willing to take it on the basis of 4 months. So essentially that whole thing is, for me, just saying what we probably think, a lot of Man United fans think, out of the two, regardless of what this is actually, out of the two, I reckon most fans would probably go with Carrick. It's interesting that I think 7 days ago, I think the fan base were all saying Solskjaer. I think we all thought, at least most of us, I believe, thought Solskjaer would be the one because it's familiarity. You know what you're going to get. But once again, Ineos are stepping into the unknown. They prefer to go with the unknown with Carrick. And I say relatively unknown because they haven't seen what he can do at United, even though what he's done at Middlesbrough, Shivam in the chat has pointed out, has been quite good. It's still the unknown. So I think you can criticize their decision or praise their decision. I think you can find, it's like a boxing, you can find little gaps where you can, do a little jab or do a little uppercut. Because you can criticize us by saying, do you know what, why have they gone with the unknown? They're betting again, gambling again, just like they gambled on Amorim. When will they haven't learned? So you can definitely put that hold that perspective. Or then you could be like, they're being brave, they're doing what's right. Ollie's backwards. Going with Ollie is signaling, not going forwards. So I reckon you can find pros and cons for both. So I'm not really too opinionated, to be fair. Anyway, Sky Sports. Sky Sports have weighed in as well. I was told when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer met with Jason Wilcox, he understandably, to a large extent, said, if I do a good job and get you to the Champions League football, what is the reward? I'd like something written into my contract that says if I achieve that, then there is a substantive contract at the end. That's what Ollie wanted, and there was no such request from Michael Carrick. Michael Carrick didn't put on his big brave balls. He didn't come in with his suit and demand a million. He didn't do that. He said, "Please, sir, I'll do whatever. I just want this job," and that's the difference. That's the difference, and that is one of the reasons, apparently, why Ollie was not given a job and Carrick was. Anyway, let's move on, people, to something else. What is this? Is this short-term signings? Short-term signings, guys. I know this will make you happy. I'm being sarcastic, by the way. Michael Carrick will work with the squad he has inherited. That is it, guys. I don't even need to read any more of this tweet, but if you want me to read more, I will, guys. But that is basically it. A lot of us have been talking about transfers, and I have been trying to manage everyone's expectations. I do not believe that we are doing anything meaningful in January. So Mark Ogden, another journalist, has weighed in on this matter. He will work with the squad he has inherited as Man United head coach. The club has no plans to make any new signings during this transfer window. Sources have said that United are aware of the need to bolster their midfield options, but with none of their leading targets available, the club will not make short-term signings. And I think you always got to hold a nuanced perspective, guys. That's why I said, you know what, we're not going to make any signings in January, because based on what the club have been saying since the summer, they're not going to do any snap signings. I know you guys want them to spend a little 40 million on this player and have a player for 5 years that they don't really want. They don't have that kind of money anymore to splash on £100 million on Anthony. So from now on, the club has to. This is what they're saying. By the way, whether you believe it or not, this is just me just saying what the club are doing. They have to do even more due diligence and only sign players that they have thoroughly researched and they fully want at the club. So they're never, in my opinion, they were never going to make any little short-term signings unless it was maybe a player like Conor Gallagher on loan or something along them lines. We don't even have money to pay our staff, where we're trying to get people off, the books to lower the wage bill. So I've personally always tried to lower my expectations with regards to any signings this January. Even though I know what we need signings, if I could, guys, I would sign a midfielder this January, as I'm sure you guys would as well. Big up the chat, big up the community. Shiv's in the building. Yeah, TK is in the building, people. Okay, I am detox, ready for a strong 9th place finish, says TK. Come on, lads. It's good to see TK back in the chat. Sometimes it's good to take a break, have a breather. Don't focus about Man United. If it's making you stressed, fuck Man United. Don't allow this. Listen, guys, don't allow this football club. Like I always say, I get angry in the moment, but as soon as this camera's turned off, these guys ain't on my mind. I spark up that zoo, I smoketh it, and I go into the clouds. So sometimes you need a break from football, guys. It's good. Big up the community, man. That's what happens. Big up, man. Let's go on. We're plowing through all of this stuff, man, because all of these quotes, it's all painting a picture and all leading to protests, disgruntlement. Are you guys feeling better? Is all of this stuff encouraging you? How are you feeling about the game on Saturday. Michael Carrick is going to be thrown into the lion's den, into the dragon pit, into the fire very quickly. No time to ease into this, guys. No time at all. Ollie, as mentioned in my intro, Ollie has come out with support of Carrick. So it's probably what you'd expect. They're not enemies. They are both ex-players of this football club that achieved greatness. Ollie's not going to come out and start giving Carrick metaphorical right hooks and be like, oh, this guy's shit. This Carrick is shit, man. And why did you choose Carrick over me? Fuck this guy. That ain't gonna happen. Anyway, so some news is just a formality. Sometimes it's just good to know. You know, Ollie's come out. You know, he said it's cool. Carrick's got the job. You know, but okay, let's read this. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was informed by Wilcox on Monday that he hadn't been chosen for United interim head coach role. Though naturally disappointed, sources say his preference would have been to take the job again on a permanent basis. Yeah, we've noticed. Working for the long term rather than few months. That's what he wanted. He believes United require a major rebuild to close the gap to the Premier League's elite. A point he made to the club's executives during their conversations. Oh, guys, you know what I'm thinking? When they heard that a major rebuild, major overhaul, when they heard that, they were like, so you think we need to rip up the carpet again? Are you saying we just literally ripped up the carpet? Are you saying we need to rip up the carpet again? Nah, we ain't hiring you. Let's hire somebody who's going to say, oh, you just need just a little paint on the walls. Just a little paint on the wall. That's all you need. You don't need to just whip up the carpet and go into the foundations. No. Leave the rats alone underneath there. You know, your house is sinking underneath, but leave it alone. Just paint it. And that's all you need to do. So, I don't know, guys. Let me know. Let me know your thoughts. But it ends with him saying he is supportive of Carrick. So that's the main thing. Ollie coming out with support of Carrick. So I think it's also pertinent, should I say, guys, to show some, some training shots. Let's just see some training shots, because the past week, the atmosphere in the chat, even in this chat, guys, has been spicy. And I'm in a good mood today. And I feel like, yes, we're pissed off. We're still angry. But in general, the mood is slightly better. So I feel like now, if I showed you these pictures a week ago, maybe you guys would have told me to fuck off. I don't know. But I feel like now we can see these training shots of Carrick and Carrick's coaching team and be like, okay, another new start. We got Man City on Saturday. Let's see if we can get a managerial bounce. There's nothing we can do about what happened, but Ineos, you are on thin ice. Listen, we're already done with the Glazers. Like, we're already done with them. But you guys came in and said you guys were going to be something different. So let's start doing something different. But for now, let's see Carrick and the boys, having fun. Look at Carrick explaining some shit. Probably telling these guys to pass the ball better. He's probably you saw Ugarte make a 30-yard pass and he's like, oh shit. Carrick is like, oh my lord, do I need to come out of retirement? Steve. Look at Steve Holland, by the way. Look at Steve Holland. So that's Steve Holland on the right hand side of the picture with Martinez. And also, we also saw a picture of Woodgate. Jonathan Woodgate. My gosh. Jonathan Woodgate is coaching at Manchester United. Man, I remember when he was a player. I remember when he was a defender. Was it Middlesbrough, guys? Middlesbrough? Yeah. I think he also played for England, but wasn't Woodgate, especially towards the end of his career, very injury prone as well? I remember he was he was a good defender. He was one of those defenders who passed the ball out from the back. One of those kind of defenders. Listen, at the end of the day, guys, do you know what? We can't defend. Yeah. We under Amorim, we concede more goals than we score. Right. That was the stat that we saw. We went through that stat and we saw that we conceded more goals than we scored. So having a defender, someone who's actually a defender, who's defended as part of the coaching staff, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I'm just trying to be optimistic a little bit. I'm trying to be, guys, because I feel like we have to be. We have to be. So big up. What's Shivam saying? This year we get into the Champions League. 2 years down the line we bring in the treble. Sesko, Ballon d'Or, and mainly the new Modric. Cunha and Mbimo, the best GA duo. Alright, I don't know if Shivam is proper trolling now. But do you know what? Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? What's TK saying? I need some of the stuff that Shiv's on. That's bold. Maybe United are in a funk because Capello has been somewhat forgotten. I've been thinking that, and I've said the next watch along we do, I will need to remember to make sure Capello is front and prominent. Anyway, quickly, guys, Steve Holland. Yes, guys, Steve Holland was hired by United after Michael Carrick and Wilcox discussed the need for a coach with experience of working at the highest level. It's very, very easy, guys, to forget that Amorim's coaching staff, the little 4 guys that he brought over, I think they said the maximum age of, I think one of them was old, like one of them was like 50 or whatever. But the rest of them, like the other 5, the maximum age was like 35. They were young. And the sporting job was the first job that most of them ever had. So Man United, for all of these coaches that Amorim had, was a big jump for them. They didn't understand a lot of things. They didn't know a lot of things. And Amorim even himself came out many, many times and said, I didn't understand how big this job is. The reason why Amorim said a lot of things he said is because he doesn't understand that you can't come out and say you hate the job and you love the job. You can't say some of the things that Amorim said. The job's too big. So I feel like it's decent to get someone in who, according to them, right? That's what I want to say. According to them, I'm only speaking for them. I'm not saying I believe this as well, guys. But according to them, has worked at the highest level. The 55-year-old is known to be demanding and abrasive. Okay. One source said he can be cold and aloof. But Southgate regarded Holland as a crucial element of his reign as England manager. And this is where it gets interesting. And this is where Osman early on has said, and now let me know, guys. You guys let me know some shit too. It can't just be me. Do you think this is us laying the groundwork for Gareth Southgate? I just want to know. I want to know the chat's opinions. I want to know what the chat is feeling. Anyway, it goes on to say, Gareth was the long-term guy, somebody who the players could identify with, but Steve was the tougher figure. A source close to Southgate said, Steve spent a long time at Chelsea working with Mourinho, Ancelotti and Conte. Right, he's literally worked here with 3 of the most pragmatic. Ancelotti is probably not as pragmatic, but maybe, but definitely 3 of the most pragmatic managers around. So yeah, they all have their ways. And he has a hard edge because of that. He made Gareth realize that you have to win today as well as plan for tomorrow. Right? Why they make it? Listen, this propaganda piece that I'm reading out to you guys sounds so good. This PR piece here that I'm reading out. Sometimes you got to stop reading for a second, guys, and understand how this is making you feel and what it's actually doing to you. Be present in the actual moment. And now that I'm present in the moment, I can say after reading the third paragraph that they've done well. Whoever's written this has done well. Anyway, we'll continue. While neither Carrick nor Wilcox have worked with Holland previously, a United source said that the club's England players were delighted when told of his addition to the coaching staff. But while United have overhauled their coaching team, the responsibility for results will fall on Carrick's shoulders. Well, obviously, I mean, that line is such a dumb line to add. I literally was saying how this piece sounded good, and then they had to add the line of Carrick's a manager, and it was, I mean, yeah, right. But very, very interesting. This is a very good propaganda piece. If you want to sell somebody on somebody, they've done well to sell this guy. He's the brains behind this. He was this, and he found this. He found the gem stone in the forest. He did this, and he discovered the 12th wonder of the world. And you know, we know everything we know about the universe comes from Steve Holland. But I mean, jokes aside, what are you guys saying? What are you guys thinking? TK, and I need this at Man United. Roy Keane, DOF, Carrick manager, staff, and Gary Rooney, Rio. Wonder if we button up the hatches on defence would affect our scoring output. Wonder if we score more goals as a result of neglecting to play responsibly without the ball. Yeah, I always get the trade-off. I understand that sort of like, I was going to say call it game theory. It's not game theory, but the trade-off that you are coming up with, you know, are we conceding more goals because we're trying to score more goals? And if we become more defensive, would it mean we score less goals? So I get that. Osman says Steve Holland sounds like an absolute member. Hate working with people like that. He is a reason Ben White asked out of the England squad. He might be, but Osman, I don't like people like that, but there'll be Man United fans who might come out and say, that's what we need. You know that, Oz. You know the response to what you said, the rebuttal would be, that's what these players need. These players need someone like that because I don't know if modern players actually need that. That's the problem. If you do not eat, sleep, or breathe football, I don't think this guy will like you. So that sounds like religion to me. TK says, nobody finished second, third, or fourth better than Southgate. He's won nothing with England, even with the best on paper teams. Pass for me. Wiz, TK, I want to gauge, but I mean, my opinion is about Southgate is probably more negative than it is positive. So I'm probably going to be closer to where you are in your opinion on Southgate, to be fair. Clubs, England players, Rashi at Barca, Manu out of squad, heaven doesn't exist, and no one requires Maguire, Shaw and Mount. Who is happy with? Good question. Good question, Shivam. It's silly to presume Ben White does not love football. He's thrived under Bielsa and Arteta, who are insanely demanding managers. That's true. That's true. Maybe this guy's the kind of manager that's like, oh, Ben White's got earrings in. It means you don't. I don't know. Listen, I don't like people like that, Osman. They're crazy, insane. But anyway, more propaganda. I'm not going to read it out, guys, at all to you. But there is literally, I'm just going to show you guys right now. As you can see, if you pay attention to the screen a little bit, there are whole articles now coming out all of a sudden. And I want you guys to understand how media works and how propaganda works and how things spread and how narratives are formed very quickly. Look at all of these articles that have come out now talking about how amazing this guy is. And I'm not saying he's not going to be amazing. I'm not going to sit here and say to you guys and try to predict the future and try to say he's going to be this and try. I don't know. I literally do not know, guys. But I just want you guys to be aware, because this is how my brain works sometimes. Be aware of all of this stuff coming out about Steve Holland all of a sudden. So, Oz says Holland was asking the defenders about what tactics they use at their clubs, and White basically said there's some stuff I shouldn't talk about, and Holland took it as a personal affront. Oh, Oz is getting into specifics. These are not just general claims. These are actual specific things that have happened. Oh, this guy sounds like a dick. Osman is making this guy sound like a dick. Osman is combating the PR that we just read. We've just read the most amazing PR ever. And Osman is basically telling us, listen, guys. So that's why we gotta take it with a pinch of salt, guys. You know, but that was so positive, guys. Listen, I want to be written about like that, guys. Whenever you write about chosen wisdom, please make it sound like that. I beg you. I beg you. All right. Sky Carvey. He's always opinionated, Sky Carvey. He's not afraid to say what he feels. And this, let's be honest, guys, what Carvey said, most United fans probably agree to a certain extent. So Carvey today said this on Sky. I personally think it doesn't matter who's in charge, who's the manager, the head coach, who's the interim head coach. I've been saying it for 20 years and I'm bold and I'm bored of saying it. The problem at Manchester United are to do with the ownership model at the club. Personally, I think unless that changes, nothing is going to change. I think that maybe not so much the ownership model per se, but yes, I guess the ownership and the ownership model, you can argue, are interchangeable and they could mean the same thing, even though in my mind they don't. But the ownership will always be the start of the issues. For me, I see Man United like a river, in a sense that a lot of rivers or a lot of oceans, let's say a river starts off at the top of the mountain and it starts off really small. Yeah. And it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And the river keeps getting bigger until it gets to the sea. And now it's vast. I see Man United as, or you can see the snowball. You can use the snowball effect of a small snowball and it continues to roll down the hill and it gets bigger. The small imperfections in how they run the club from the very top eventually lead to massive outcomes, massive deviations, and massive issues by the time it gets to the football level. So the Glazers will say, we've given Man United money. Listen, you guys spent £100 million on Anthony. The Glazers will defend themselves and say, listen, we have actually provided you with loads of cash to spend. But then they've given the cash to the wrong, they've hired the wrong people to run the club. And the wrong people who have hired the wrong staff. The wrong staff have hired the wrong manager. And the wrong manager has hired the wrong players. So a small issue at the very top, a small deviation from perfection at the very top can lead to massive differences. Massive sways, massive issues by the time it gets to the football, especially when you've neglected the footballing side of the business and you've just focused on the commercial side of the business. Commercial signings rather than football signings. So I agree with, and I can say a lot more about this, guys. A lot more. I agree with Carve, but the problem is not just the owners. It starts with the owners. It starts with the owners. Anyway, big up Atro. All I can say is we still need to get midfielders in regardless of the Carrick appointment. Yeah, 100%. I agree with that, Atro. I don't give a rat's behind if this guy is toxic. If he makes defense work, charge it to the game. I'm tired of seeing Dallo and Shaw get cooked unnecessarily in 50-50s. There you go. Just get this guy in. I don't care if he spits in your face while he's talking to you or whatever. If he man can get the job done, get him in. Only toxic to those who are not on board, said TK. What's Turkish saying? All right, guys. The reason why I'm clapping is because the guys are back. The guys are back, and look at them smiling. They are back in training, guys. But before I get excited, let me just manage my expectations and just remind myself that before Brandon Bemo went to AFCON, he was playing terribly. I went from saying Brandon Bemo didn't have the greatest game. Brandon Bemo's not having the greatest game. And then by the fourth game, I was like, do you know what? This is the fourth game in a row where I'm saying Brandon Bemo's not had the greatest game. So he's actually played poorly today. So Brandon Bemo, I don't think had the greatest AFCON either. And I just hope, guys, because he's my United player and he's a player that I like, and he's a player that when he's on form, he can be absolutely devastating. So I just pray, because all we have is hope. We don't know anything. That he returns to the kind of form that we saw, not right at the beginning, because he started a bit late and he was a bit overweight and he wasn't really fit. But after his first 4 or 5 games, when he got into the swing of things, he started playing okay. He started playing a bit better. But then the last 5 games before he went to AFCON, he wasn't playing well at all. So I just can't pray that he comes back, regains a bit of form. I think Ahmad has been slightly more consistent than Brandon Bemo. The question also is to the chat, to you guys, is if we do play 4-2-3-1, which I think Carrick could play. Only one of these guys are playing on the right-hand side, guys. Who are you starting on the right-hand side of a 4-2-3-1 Carrick or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer system? We are going to play with wingers. And I think like one of them will start on the right-hand side. Either way, once they both return, for the first time, we're either going to have Ahmad or Brandon Bemo on the bench. So we're going to go from having a squad which is not that great to a squad where one of these two will probably be on the bench. That is not too bad. Let me know who you're starting. Let me know who you're starting against Man City, assuming you have to start one of them. All right, guys, slowly coming towards the end. Let's get all the hot topics out the way. Jason Wilcox had a meeting with the Man United squad on Monday, guys, and it was explained to them that getting rid of or getting the right caretaker manager is crucial. And he also explained to the squad that qualifying for the Champions League is the target. So, guys, I want everyone to look in, because we've been told many different things about targets and expectations and what the expectation is and all these things. We've been getting mixed messages. None of us know what the target is, and all of us have have added our own individual target. I've said top 6. Some of you guys have said top 8. Some of you guys have even said top 4. But now, for me, officially, for the first time, I believe, probably this season, Wilcox has officially come out and says the target is qualifying for the Champions League. That is it. It's clear now. No, don't change your target in 2 months' time. Don't revise things. We've now, the football club has now come out and said winning, or qualifying, should I say, qualifying for the Champions League is the target for this season, which means minimum top 5. Maybe top 4. I sometimes forget about the rules. Do the top 5 qualify for the Champions League now, or is it still the top 4? Whatever it is, but minimum top 5. So now we know. Acho says he started Ahmad on the right and Mbumo on the left. Acho, I wouldn't mind doing that. So you're gonna have, because Mbumo's left-footed, so you're gonna have him go down the outside and put crosses in for Sesko on his left foot. He's not gonna do much with his. But then again, I lie. I've seen Brandon Mbumo use his right foot. I've seen him score with his right. He can cut in, but he probably go on the outside a bit more. Ahmad on the right hand side, cutting in on his left. Sesko in the middle. I would do that actually, but I don't know if Carrick would. I hope Carrick is brave. I don't want to see Cunha on the left either, but I just don't know. Actually, the first team that Carrick picks, everybody is just waiting to see the first team he picks. I hope he surprises us. Until we get an actual left winger option, I play Mbumo and Ahmad. Also, Mbumo can score with his right and with you literally. Oh, that's crazy. That's when you know you're in sync. You know that. I didn't even read that comment, and you just literally said what I said. I literally was thinking, hold on, I've seen Mbumo actually smash the ball in with his right foot a few times. He can actually shoot with his right. TK says, on the current roster, only Ahmad is a die for the club kind of player. Nobody else sticks out like that. Sure is a die at the club. He'll be here forever in the canteen. Sure will be like 50 years old, and people be like, who are you? And you, leave me alone. You kind of look a bit like Luke Shaw, but just a lot older. Who's Luke Shaw? I don't know who he is. Luke Shizzle, man. I'm joking, Luke Shaw, but I'm not really. Okay. So that's the expectations, guys. It's good to get the expectations out the way. So I know I hate being lied to, and I hate being. So these guys want to come out with some foolishness at the end of the season about changing your No, we now know what the expectation is. So this is the one, guys, like Neo. This is the one that's either going to wind you up. It's either going to wind you up, piss you off, or maybe you guys are not going to care. Maybe it's going to wash off your back. I don't know. Maybe this might excite you, might make you happy. I don't know, but here we go. This is what Sky have said, and I think it is good to bring this to your attention, guys. Yeah. Man United have learned a lesson from appointing Ruben Amorim and Erik ten Hag before him, that they need someone who is one of the elite of world coaching, someone who is a big name, who has the personality to cope with the size of the club Man United is and the unique challenges it poses. Oh, imagine, because this is why I said this might pull your hair out, guys, when you hear this. Let's just focus on the first paragraph, yeah? Imagine coming into the club and saying best in class. We're getting the best in class everywhere. We want the best in class. And then 2 years later saying, do you know what? We've learned our lesson. We need to hire the best in class. Imagine your ethos, yeah. Your main thing is best in class, and it took you 2 years to work out, do you know what? We should actually do what we say we are, and be what we say we are, and actually get the best managers in the world. We should actually do that, because we imagine spending 2 years to work that out. That is insane. I don't know who else is reading that and thinking, yeah, this is great. This paragraph is really good. Because what it shows me is that these guys are just chatting. They're just chatting, guys. How can you learn a lesson from appointing these two that you need someone elite that can handle the pressure, that won't come out and say things like, I hate the players, I love the players, and all the I keep telling you guys, yeah, one of my annoyances about Ruben Amorim is how emotionally unstable he was. He came out and he crashed out often, saying the most craziest thing, and people defended it. It was absolutely insane to experience. And now they said, shit, we now need someone who can handle all of that. And what have I been saying for the past 6 months on this channel? I have said this. Why do we want the best footballers to play here and not want the best coaches and the best manager? How does that make sense here, that we want the best footballers in the world, yeah, to play for our football club, but we are happy to just accept none of the top 10 managers? I said this to you guys. We spoke about this all. I said, why does Man United, and we, TK, Shivam, we all spoke about this. We have never hired any of the top 10 coaches or managers in the world, even though we're supposed to be one of the top 3 biggest football clubs. Imagine this. You are one of the top 3 biggest football clubs, biggest, and maybe biggest sporting franchises in the world, and you've never had a top 10 manager managing your club for the last 10 years. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you get why wouldn't you get one of the absolute best? It makes no sense. And then to come out and say, do you know what? We finally learned our lesson. Let's go for the best. Are we dumb? Do they think we're stupid? So I just wanted to rant a little bit, guys, because I feel like that first paragraph on your screen that you can all read just there is absolutely nonsense. But we will read on. So it goes on to say that, the managers that we are talking about are the likes of Thomas Tuchel, Carlos Ancelotti, De Zerbi, Luis Enrique, Marco Silva, Glasner. Big names who Man United think would be able to cope with the size of the job this is. When Amorim was sacked last week, we learned that he had told confidants he was surprised how much noise there was around Man United role and how big the job was. So, apparently, Amorim was surprised in how big this job really was. And they want a big manager. It's just very interesting PR, guys, that's coming out. Let me know what your thoughts are on this. And it finishes off by saying, so I do not think Man United will make the same mistake again and appoint an up-and-coming coach. So they've gone from, no, we want the best, but what we're really doing is appointing an up-and-coming coach, because Amorim was an up-and-coming coach. They don't want that anymore. Apparently, they want someone who's been there and done it. So that's why they've gone with Carrick. It's funny, guys. It is funny. It's just spin. Like, like you guys said in the chat, Kylie Minogue settings. Spin, spin, spin. This is not the best start, guys, to Michael Carrick's stint. And what I mean by that is he has Man City and he has Arsenal next. And Nobody, no manager wants those 2 ties as your first 2 ties in charge. You do not. You do not. So I feel for Michael Carrick. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you're feeling. Comment below. Share your thoughts. Let's. Anyway, to finish off on the new manager stuff, we're now having to start, or we have to start thinking about who the long-term successor will be. I hope Ineos take their time, spend the next 4 months, like I said before, doing their due diligence, doing their research, trying to understand what they actually want. Please just work out what you want, work out what your goal is, stick to a method, because you can't keep chopping and changing. It won't work. You got to know what the hell you're doing and stick to the strategy. That's all I'm saying. So you got to have the right people making the right decisions. Do we have the right people making the right decisions? That is the question. Last week, says Fabrizio Romano, Amorim was fired, and after that, 2 names were considered, or guaranteed to be considered. And one is Thomas Tuchel, who is, of course, England manager, and Roberto De Zerbi. So Fabrizio has come out saying that these 2 names, and these were the same 2 names that were circulating when Ten Hag lost the job. When Ten Hag got sacked, the 2 names that people were pushing were De Zerbi and Thomas Tuchel. And that is what Fabrizio Romano is talking about, those 2 managers. Let me know, guys, if any of those managers tickle your fancy. Let me know your thoughts on all of what we have spoken about today. So as usual, just to finish off, to run through all the headlines, guys, all the talking points, we spoke about Carrick. Carrick being announced officially as caretaker manager. The next games under Carrick's management are on your screen right now. The first 2 probably we will not win, I don't think, but fingers crossed. Who knows? This is football, the beautiful game. The next 3 are probably, they look more likely, they look easier fixtures. So those are the next 5 games under Carrick. So we spoke about Carrick being announced. We spoke on Jason Wilcox and his view of the appointment. Ornstein also weighed in on Carrick, and we spoke about that. We also mentioned about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's and Carrick's demands. We spoke about why Carrick was chosen over Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and what Ole was demanding, which Carrick was not demanding in his contract. We spoke about the fact that there will be no short-term signings in January, guys. No short-term signings in January, which we've been saying in this channel that we don't really think United are going to do anything in January anyway. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer supporting Carrick. We spoke about the fact that Ole's come out and shown his support to Michael Carrick. We looked at the new coaching team, the new coaching department, as well as looking at some training pics, trying to build some morale, trying to build some positive mood. We also, in the hour, spoke on Steve Holland, and Steve Holland, who was Gareth Southgate's number 2, he's now coming over to Manchester United to help Michael Carrick. So we went through all the propaganda pieces that were speaking on Steve Holland. We also mentioned the fact that Steve Holland worked with Gareth Southgate in today's show, and I asked the question to the chat, do you think all of this stuff is paving the way for a Gareth Southgate appointment in the summer? That is a big question that I'm posing to the chat overall. And Wemo and Ahmad are back, guys, for the Man City game on Sunday. So who are we going to start? Of course, the pre-match show will be on Friday, and we'll talk about the team, we'll talk about the lineup. But some of you guys are already saying Ahmad and Mbumo should start on either flank, and we should drop Cunha. So a lot of opinions with regards to the lineup and what our strategy, what the formation, what our system will be under Carrick, which is going to be so exciting, guys. A new era, new things to learn, and I love my tactical analysis. So look out for, of course, more tactical analysis, which will be coming up very soon. And we ended the show speaking very briefly on our potential permanent manager. And I see Eddie in the chat just jumped in and said he likes De Zerbi or Joachim Low. So I like De Zerbi. I've always liked De Zerbi as well. So big up Eddie, who's just jumped in. We had a packed show. We went through a lot of stuff. A lot of things have happened, guys. We've literally hired a new manager. This is just half. This is only the small amount of news. We could have had a longer show. We could have went through even more topics. So big up, guys. Big up the chat. TK, Atro, Turkish, of course, Eddie, who just jumped in, Osmaniac, big up the chat, Kwaku, Shivam, as always. It's been good, guys. We'll be back here on Friday for your usual match preview for the Manchester City game on Saturday. I'm just going to say, guys, that I'm not able to confirm whether I will do a watch along, which is a bit frustrating because I have something pre-booked for Saturday, but I might not be able to do a watch along for Carrick's first game, but I'll let you know by Friday's show. So big up everybody. It is Wednesday, middle of the week. We only have 2 days to go. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. Remember, it's only football. Do not let these prima donna rich motherfuckers piss you off or stress you out. It's been absolutely amazing, guys. The community and the chat has flowed. TK, my guy, has given the MVP today to Shivam. For Shivam, for his renewed attitude. Shivam just basically had a cold shower, looked himself in the mirror, slapped himself a couple of times, and psyched himself and went, okay, cool, and go. And then I'm the new me. I hate you, Shivam. Shivam has made a conscious decision to turn his life around, and he found Christ. I'm joking. I'm joking. It will be 4 a.m. here. TK be sleeping through the City match. So TK ain't going to be watching it anyway. There you go. TK making me feel better for potentially missing the Man City game. Big up, people. Enjoy your Wednesday evening. Enjoy your Wednesday or your Thursday morning, whatever time it is. It is lovely always to see you guys. Remember, it is easier to love than it is to hate. Big up, Man United fans, and I'll see you